up because the sun is here. We shall appreciate the sun by standing up. We're going to bring our feet together. We're going to bring our hands into the namaskara. We've got the chest lifted, got the breath coming and going through the nose. Good, good. I'm the same as you, Brian. You've got to line those mats up, haven't you? You just gotta. Clean it, line it up. We're all birds of a feather in this room. So chest is lifted, breathing through the nose. Lots of mats out, actually, Kate, but you can put another one on top if you want. There's some spaces if you want. Three spaces, in fact. So namaskara, a bowing action, feet together or close. If possible, feet together. Possible means that you're A, not pregnant, B, that your thighs don't meet before your feet, C, that it's not uncomfortable to bring, say, your knees or feet together. So if any of those, if you are pregnant or if your thighs do meet before your feet, then you can have your feet apart, but they should be level. And then we're going to start by moving the feet a little bit, spreading. I'm quite a lateral spreader of the feet, to be honest. A lot of people like to spread along the feet. I quite like to spread across the feet. Maybe I should get out more. But that feeling it is all about contact, or increasing contact, increasing presence, tuning out of various abstractions about myself and about the world, and tuning into what in yoga we might call loka, the world. But that includes everything, inside and outside. It's like a field of connection. Interlace your fingers, stretch your arms diagonally down, raise your arms up, lightly tone the tummy, breathe through your nose. When you raise your arms up, make sure that your neck is not tight or impinged. So sometimes a little bit of movement of the head, sometimes an adjustment of the position, and also the adjustment of the attitude, because attitude affects the body, we know. If our attitude is one of surrender, of trust, shraddha, of giving, dana, these are important qualities in yoga, and that's what we're doing, isn't it? Yoga. So trusting, surrendering, giving. And we're gathering together various fibers from the lateral parts of the body, the posterior parts, the anterior parts, the deep parts, the superficial parts, the distal parts, the proximal parts. And it becomes a meditation where time disappears. Take a big wide circle when you're ready. Hands come back to the heart center. Take a deep breath or two. Or three. So just letting the breath come and go. Raising calmly when you're ready again. That sensitivity to fluidity everywhere, whether it be the lower back or the neck or the breath or the mind. Fluidity is the universal principle. So moving left, moving right, just drawing in. If you're daydreaming, that's allowed, and you're loved. Just want to say that. Okay. So, because it's normal, isn't it, for the mind to drift off, think about the past, think about the future, think about ideas about yourself in the present. And then if you know that you're loved, then it's easy to let go. So simple. Press your feet, raise your fingers on the inhale. On the exhale, bend ankles, knees, and hips, and hinge forwards from the hip joints. You can draw it up and down and turn it left and right. You can bounce it, tilt it, sway it. You can extend the arms. Any movement, really, that's meditative. Any movement that's meditative. Meditative means like falling in love. That's all. It's like falling in love. Most of us are in love with falling in love, aren't we? With whatever it is, new record, a person, a destination. Inhale, come on up. Big wide circle, hands to the heart, deep breaths, plural. So let's take a few of those deep breaths. So hopefully that pose, Utkatasana, invites deep breath, and we're going to accept the invitation wisely because we're being invited into the arms of the goddess, metaphorically speaking. And the goddess is represented by various goddesses. One goddess represented by various goddesses. And what is the goddess? It's the now. Take your feet hip width apart. Spread your toes. Look down at your feet. Make sure that they don't turn out or in. If you imagine a line, like a little railway track that runs between the gap between your second and third toe, if we count from the big toe out, between the second and third toe, and through the middle of the heels. Now we're going to raise the arms up again. Lightly tone the tongue and disappear out of all thoughts, conceptions, memories, opinions, into the reality of now, because now has a power. We don't need to keep dragging stuff over from the past. We don't need to have past knowledge and try and make it fit into the present. Instead, we need to know that now has power that comes through us. So the power of now. Was that me? Might have been me. Sounds like I won something on eBay. I don't remember trying to buy anything on eBay. Anyway, bend ankles, knees, and hips. And coming down, breathing easy. A little bouncing, a little movement. You can go as low as you are comfortable to go. For some people, it's comfortable to squat all the way to the floor. For some people, it's better to stay a little way up. In a constant process of listening, responding, we're going to work our way back up and a big old circle. Hands this time to the hips and feet step apart to a generous stride. Just make sure I suppress this telephone. Generous stride, hands on the hips. Breathing through the nose if you can. Left toes in, right foot and leg out, turning on the ball of the foot, finishing off the turn on the heel. And checking you've got heel to arch alignment. And double checking. If you're happy with that heel to arch alignment, stretch energetically speaking into your back leg and bend your front knee, perhaps repeatedly. Because what we need is unity. What we need is to step out of all the stories from the past, ideas about the future, into this moment. Remember, now has a power that if you surrender to now, that power comes through you, or those powers come through you. The Sanskrit word, of course, is Shakti. It's a feminine word, and it means power, and it comes from the root shak, which means to be able. So ability comes from surrender. And we know that's the case if we ask a dancer or a runner or someone who even enjoys cooking, surrender. Elbow down when you're ready. Arm up. It's the Parsvakonasana, stretching up and over. There's lots of ways to work with your arm. You can wiggle your fingers if you wanna. Wiggle if you wanna. Breathe through the nose. Some people find it useful to lift their heel or heels occasionally or all the time or what. Again, we're not limiting. We're just completely open and able to respond spontaneously beyond any self-paradigm to we become the mouthpiece of the now. So our asanas are like sort of speech coming through that mouth. It's this spontaneous expression, karana. Okay, arm down, palm down, push calmly, inhale. To come up, hands on the hips. Deep breaths, jaw soft. Perhaps you can feel energy or prana in the body in the form of tingling. Perhaps you can sense the pelvic floor as a sort of living experience beyond grasping. No, grasping isn't something we need. Back toes in, front foot and leg out, turning on the ball of the foot, finishing off the turn on the heel to arch alignment, breathing through the nose. Again, imagine and feel energy extending in both directions as you bend and re-extend your front knee as many times as is useful in terms of integration. So it's integrative. So repetition, abhyasa, and spaciousness, vairagya, abhyam, both together, tannirodha, cause this nirodha, it's called nirodha, which is like enlightenment, and you could say, or awakening, because it clears, everything's cleared. Nirodha means a non-proliferation. Elbow down when you're ready, palm up. Still feel free to play with it. Stretching up, maybe up and over. Light tone in the tummy. Let it be alive, spontaneous, breath-centered, enjoyable, meditative. We're going down to Adho Mukha Svanasana, the down face dog. So coming down into that when you're ready, stepping your foot back. And just check in on the Zoomers. Play with the pose. All good at home on Zoom? Yeah, looks like you're all good. Good. So Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, I'll do it if you like. It's okay. So keep breathing, playing with the pose. Getting those palms to really mesh into the mat. We want strength in yoga, for sure. But what is strength? It's not on rather than off. What strength is gathered fibers working together. In other words, there's no fibers that are preoccupied in the body. And what happens in the body happens in the mind, and what happens in the mind happens in the body. So as you get into the body, it's a meditation because it's an absorption, because we want every fiber to come together to create the strength that we need. So strength in the quadriceps, front thigh muscles, for example, is something that's meditative and in layers and is a door to the eternal, the ananta. Come down calmly when you're ready to sit in a kneeling position, for which, of course, you can use a block between the heels and buttocks. Breathe through your nose if you can. So jaw soft, eyes soft, breathing through the nose if you can. Great. Come forwards again, this time onto your forearms, and stretch your legs back. Relax your jaw, which is a process I find I have to sort of move my jaw or even stretch the jaw or stretch the tissue across the jaw to ensure that the gripping tendencies, which are pernicious and covert, they don't sneak their way in. The gripping, grasping, grabbing tendencies that yoga needs us to be empty of. We need to be empty of gripping, grasping, grabbing, so that we can feel the power of now, so we can be the power of now, these various shaktis, as they're called. So let things move, let it be a meditation, let the moment to moment to moment to moment richness of it inform your experience. Great. Okay, knees forwards, stretch your legs out in front of you. You can sit on blocks if you find it useful. And now, let me clarify what useful means here. If you're collapsing at all, or if you're not sure if you're collapsing or not, then sitting on blocks is the way to go. If you've got two blocks, that's useful to put them short end to short end like that, because then you've got a little platform for your hands as well. Using yoga props is the most traditional, the most consistent element that we find in yoga traditions. So, if you want to be a great yogin, use props to push energy around the body to where it should go. The hands are going to come by the knees once we're sitting on blocks or on the floor, and we're going to drag them back next to the hips to stretch the pectoralis, the chest muscles. Depending on arm length, you might either have a little bend in the elbow, or your arms might be straight, or you might even be on your fingertips. Depends on how long the torso is relative to how long the arms are. But we want shoulders down and head forwards. We want to be looking into this sort of the distance as if you're looking for someone At the end, perhaps you're meeting someone off the train, someone you're excited to see, and you know Brighton platforms can be quite long, and you're looking across to see if the person you're waiting for is on the train or has come off the train, so you're looking into the distance. So that's how we look in yoga asana, as if we're looking into the distance for a beloved one. Head right up. If you're daydreaming, I love you, you are loved. Just feel that for a minute. And then gradually bring yourself present without any scolding at all. Broaden the balls of the feet as a meditation, meaning have a sense of spreading across the balls of the feet. That's soft, subtle, timeless. When you practice yoga in the right way, it never gets boring. You know, it actually becomes like amazing because you start realizing there's endless layers to every instruction. So broadening the feet is endless. The mind often just makes an arbitrary end point, it draws an arbitrary line and says, well, that'll do. But if you really analyze, you'll feel for yourself that broadening the balls of the feet, broadening the heels, just that alone is endless. We can add ranging around, which is where we're looking for space, looking for lift, with a really sort of keen awareness. We're looking for opportunities, like knocking on doors, and if they open, we're ready to go through. We're always ready to go through. Well done. Good job. Take a breath, release from the pose. We're going to place our hands on the floor behind the bum, and we're going to bend our legs. Sometimes people, obviously wrists often have problems with them. Often these kind of stretches are good for problematic wrists because it helps to stretch open the carpal tunnel. But you can, if where needs be, either put the heels of the hands higher up on the blocks or even turn them outwards in a different direction. We're going to lift up the bum. We're going to do that now. And we're going to go forwards with the bum and then chest, or pelvis, chest, and head in that order. So pelvis, chest, and head. And they move together. So there's often a worry about releasing the head. A valid worry if you weren't barreling your chest over, but we are barreling our chests over. So barreling means imagining your chest as a rolling action that's consistent. So it's barreling, it's rolling. It's not doing it once, it's doing it the whole time. And it's a commitment. So if we have any worry about bringing our heads back, usually that's just a commitment issue. And many of us do have, of course, understandably, commitment issues. Let's commit now. A couple more breaths if you can. Okay, well done. Come down in the same order that you came up. And then it's treat time. Yes, treat time. So 2 blocks, long side to long side, near the, about the length of the block away from the end of your mat. You can do this with just 1 block, but 2 blocks is better. And then you fold the mat over, which is what I call the Dhamakara method, because Dhamakara done it in my class, and I've copied him ever since. Thank you, Dhamakara, formerly known as Michael Fives. So, crossed legs on the blocks. Just make sure you've got them the right way around, which is this way, long side to long side, not short end to short end. Yeah, I suspected there were it's understandable. And then we're going to lay down with the buttocks tucking under, down to your elbows, tuck under again, elbows out to the side, and then laying down on your back. Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel like too. This is welcome, isn't it? What's really nice is the ease in which, like, let's just notice how giving is selfless, isn't it? Nobody does it. It's so easy because it's selfless, like breathing, like dancing. All the selfless things are the things we really cherish. They're the magic in our lives. Right, dancing. I was dancing at my brother's wedding last week with my mum and my auntie, who were pulling out all the moves from the 60s. And it was very joyful to, so many people dancing. Because you sort of, you lose yourself. Huh? So losing yourself is how you find yourself. And you lose yourself, that means you lose the sense of all these labels, like labels to do with age, labels to do with gender, labels to do with social circles or social standing or affiliations or duties. All these labels, you lose them, but they're not destroyed. They're returning to their source as part of an infinite field of interconnection. So they disappear in the same sense that the earth begins to disappear if you move in a spaceship away from the earth. If you land on the surface of Mars, you can see the earth as a little blue dot about 45 degrees above the horizon. And then if you go to Jupiter, Earth looks really tiny. It's very hard to see unless you know where to look. And obviously you have to be also able to survive on Jupiter, which you couldn't. But and then further back, you get to where Carl Sagan asked the Voyager probe to turn around one last time and take a shot backwards towards the Earth. And the Earth appears as a single pixel, what you call the pale blue dot. And then if you kept going, if the Voyager took a photograph now, the Earth would seem like it's gone. The sun's been destroyed. We're all still here, aren't we? But the context makes it seem like it's disappeared. Similarly here, as we give to the infinite moment, this sense of separate self disappears in the vastness of the moment. It's not destroyed, it's just dissolved. Raise your arms up, move your arms side to side, and gradually bring your arms over your head onto the floor by moving multiple times. Now that might be dozens of times actually. Each shoulder blade lifts and moves out and up, the bottom inner edge of the shoulder blade lifting. And we want union, that's the name of our subject after all, so multiple adjustments are useful. Relax the jaw, relax your eyes, don't hold the breath. Sharanagati means surrender. Let's just contemplate that in the present moment. Sharanagati. I don't mean as a thought, I don't mean as an idea, but as an experience. And when you surrender, then the power of now surges through the cells and expresses karana in spontaneous sahaja movements, kriyas, spontaneous movements. So the main tip, let your breath go. Second tip, fall in love. Third tip, release control. That's how Shakti arises. And the Shaktis are the Shakti to know, to act, and to want to act on that knowing. Okay, let's change the cross of the legs so the other one goes in front. For me, I quite like to bring my arms forwards again, bring my hands to the top of the buttocks and just scoot under. Find that quite useful. So you might too. And then it gives another opportunity to wave the arms. Obviously, there are times in our lives when certain movements won't be possible. Hopefully, we're all going to live very long lives. We already have lived fairly long lives. So in a long life, there's a chance that various things will happen to the body for various periods of time, so we can adapt. So if it's not possible to bring the arms over the head, they can be out to the side, but don't forget lots of little movements come together to make what seem like bigger movements. They're made up of hundreds and hundreds of little tiny movements. So this is why I often quote from the Dhammapada, perhaps certainly one of the oldest texts that we have from the Buddhist tradition, when the Buddha says, a jug fills drop by drop. In other words, lots of little actions can have big consequences. So we can use that in the positive. You want to move your arms somewhere that doesn't feel possible, move them in lots of little movements. So Sharanagatis, go back to that. The direct experience of surrender is like what? It's like what? As soon as you go to 100% surrender, then Shakti takes over. That's why the Buddha had the epithet Tathagata, thus gone, thus arrived. As soon as you fully disappear, then you arrive. It's like exactly the same, but completely different. Bring your legs back together and bring the feet onto the blocks. Let it be a little movement of the pelvis side to side. Just massage in your own spontaneous way. And then lift up your feet up off the floor when you're ready. Bring your arms straight up in the air and head up. And you'll feel a little abdominal crunch. We're going to just let the legs and arms move away from each other. Opposite arm and opposite leg move away from each other. And so it's like the leg that's moving away, the hand is attached to that, and back and forth. And if you get any discombobulation, you should be pleased. Okay, discombobulation is what we're going for. We're going to see if we can even straighten the legs. So it's like some sort of weird slow motion on your back, kung fu. Breathing easy. Okay, slow it down, bring it back, bring your hands underneath your head. Just gently support. Breathe through your nose. Open the angle at the back of the knees, please. Relax the lower back. Relax the jaw. Relax the eyes. Surrender. Surrender what to what? Separate self to the spontaneity of the moment. Let's turn towards the Buddha side of the room, opposites to opposite elbow to opposite knee. Just once on each side before repeating with a variation. The variation is extending and retracting 3 times meditatively, meaning absorbedly. Over to the other side, stay meditative. Don't hold the breath. And then return to center. Slowly head down, slowly feet down. Then the deep breath that we're all going to feel and allow. Sigh-like exhales, really giving. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft, tongue soft. Everything that can be soft is soft. Okay, release your hands from behind your head and roll over. And whenever you're ready, including immediately. Now we're going to need 2, maybe 3 blocks if you got them. Now at home you might not have lots of blocks, but I know you've got towels. So you can make this same lift with either 2 blankets, one on top of the other, neatly folded, or 2 towels. And I'm presuming most households possess 2 towels, because otherwise, what do you do with the dirty one when you've got to have one in the wash? And, oh dear, it's got to be organized. So if you've got a cotton blanket and 2 blocks, you won't need 2 towels or 2 blankets. You'll just put your 2 blocks, one on top of the other, like this. You're going to need a 3rd block. You can use that using a towel or whatever. But here in the Buddhist center, we have plenty of stuff. There it goes. You're going to need a belt as well. I'll bring some more blocks around for the third block. It is, as some of you are hoping, Supta Baddha Konasana. We have to.
A cotton blanket.
Oh, are there none in that cupboard?
No.
Downstairs in that room. Yeah, sorry to send you off like that. More blocks, more cotton blankets, I think. Okay. There's more blocks. I'll go and grab more cotton blankets. Oh, okay. Let's have a. There's going to be some down here. Any luck? Great. Oh, great. I think a couple more, so I'll grab a couple. Yeah, that's perfect, I reckon. We're in business.
Where have you gone in here?
Yeah, I know. All that work we did.
It's really nice.
It's nice, wasn't it? I know. I know, it's a bit dull. It's because they're committees, you know, and then when you get committee, the solution is let's go neutral and then no one's happy.
Yeah. It's like IKEA then.
Exactly. Here's more blankets, here's more belts. Blankets and belts, blankets and belts. So, oh, do you need a belt? And I'll just, sorry, Zoomers and roomers. Belt, blanket. Once you've got the setup, it's very delightful. And as I say, you can use this with towels at home. Belt goes underneath the little toe side of the feet, round the inner thighs and round the sacrum. So hopefully that's given enough time for everyone to set up a very neat little platform behind them, behind us. Again, if you're practicing this at home, you might not have a yoga belt. Well, A, you can pick them up pretty cheap, maybe from eBay. Maybe I just won one on eBay. Not that I need any. I've got about 50 yoga belts at home. But back in the day, maybe, I don't know if anyone here will remember because Karen's not here, but back in the day, about 30 years ago, I didn't have belts when I taught. I had a bag of ties that I used to bring around to classes that I bought from jumble sales. So that was a long time ago. Scooting the buttocks under. It's really important to stretch onto this lift, not to lay down, but to stretch down. And that's Shalot. Okay. You can stretch your arms over your head. The rule is all of the lower back and none of the back of the pelvis is on the support, and you don't lay down, you stretch down. Regarding the belt, it goes around the little toe side of the feet, around your inner thighs, and crown you. You just lose that one. Yeah, getting a big belt. Bring your arms above it, above the belt. Let go of the other one. Yeah, just ignore that one. Well, don't worry. It can be as it is. Can you not cope with two?
Not if one's not doing it.
No, it's just superfluous to need, isn't it? I understand that. Good. Hopefully you're all laying. Don't worry. You've got other gifts, like writing beautiful books. Has everyone bought Paul's book yet? So I hope you're not feeling guilty. Well, I hope you are feeling guilty. It's a very reasonably priced book, and it's marvelous. And I am advertising it because we should support local artists. Pleasure. If you don't know what Paul's book is, he's got it all over his T-shirt, and it's The Last Dance at the Discotheque for Deviants. That's what it's called. Available from all good bookshops. Once you've got your belt on, hands behind you, fingers face forwards. You lift your bum and tuck it under. So you lift your bum and go that way, and then you stretch. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, the other way, tuck under this way. So lift your bum. And, oh no, sorry, I lied. This way, yeah. And again, one more time. Yeah, and then big stretch. That's tight enough. Otherwise, I can't move. I like to stretch my arms over my head. But, you know, up to you. I like that because of the way it stretches my psoas in the deep belly. If you've got any problems in the pose, let me know. If you've got any other problems, you can also let me know, but it probably won't. I don't know if I can do anything about them. But I can do something about problems in the pose and just check on you Zoomers at home. Yes. Yeah, thanks, Tash. That looks good. Yeah, of course you can. No, you can't, can you? You need, oh, look, there's one next to Tegan's very kindly. If anyone's uncomfortable in the back, let me know. Anyone uncomfortable in the back? Kesha. Oh, yes. Cup of tea, that would be nice. Pastries. I love pastries. They're so good, aren't they? Yeah, go for it. Yeah. It's all to do with the angle of your head and neck and, you know. Great way to release the psoas. Great way to release the psoas. Let's take 5 or 6 deep breaths. Don't forget, if you're uncomfortable, raise a hand. If you study the pose, that is, we study via surrender. You study the pose, you'll find yourself disappearing into the richness of now, which is timeless, ageless, genderless. It doesn't fit into any labels that have an exclusive opposite. Any label that has an exclusive opposite, you can't find that here. Mind sometimes gets caught in a thought. That's okay. There's nothing you need to do about that. Just be nice, that's all. After all, the Dalai Lama's training since he was 3 years old in complicated Tibetan tantric rituals and deep Buddhist philosophy, whenever you hear him talking, he mostly says, be nice. Because all that philosophy and all that practice just boils down to that, really. Okay, bringing yourself up calmly. No, it's really nice to stay. So arms by your sides, pushing into the floor. You can do it. I believe in you. Keep pushing until you come up all the way. And then undo the belt. Yeah. And then once you've undone the belt, because I myself am a lover of luxury, I don't know what age it happened. I didn't used to be a lover of luxury when I was a young guy. I'd happily sleep on the floor and all that sort of thing. And then you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, I need a pillow from John Lewis. So anyway, because I'm a lover of luxury now, and maybe you are too, let's put a blanket down. Let's treat ourselves. If you don't have a blanket, if you're practicing at home, let me know. I'll bring you one. Not right now, but at some point, because I feel bad for you not having any blankets at home, especially with the winter coming. Make sure you've got a patika nearby. What is a patika? A belt. I'll take that bad one. So sitting up nice and tall. Again, sitting on a block is very, very useful. Let's remind ourselves that yoga equipment is the oldest hallmark of yoga practice that we find, especially represented in art. We find at the temple in Sanchi, way over 2,000 years, a yogin with a yoga belt depicted there in the temple of at Sanchi in Bihar. Let's take the leg that's closest to me and draw it back so that the foot comes to the inner thigh of the opposite leg somewhere. In some cases, it's possible to bring the heel to the top of its own thigh, but mostly it isn't. But just in case it is, that's a good way to do it as well. Fingers on the floor. Breathe through your nose. Close your eyes if you want. We've got a little bonus summer day today, haven't we? A little bonus summer. It's nice. So I hope that makes you feel relaxed. A little bit of sunshine. Just in case, sometimes I put classes onto YouTube. Just chuck them on there, really. So maybe somebody's watching this in the distant future, in 10 years' time, on a rainy day. But you can remember that on this day, you can feel some empathic joy. It's sunny and a nice breeze. So we got that attitude helps to release tensions inside the back knee. A little muscle, the popliteus. It's a very small muscle, but a lot happens when you release the popliteus. So imagine releasing inside the knee joint. And you can feel the breath is to do with that. You can't release the body and not release the breath. It's not possible. And you can't release the breath and not release the mind. And we're releasing it into now, right? That's like, the vastness of all things causing the earth to disappear if you get enough perspective on it. The vastness of now causes the self to disappear, not to be destroyed, but to disappear. Meaning that in terms of karma has to have a person to attach to. When the person disappears, karma doesn't know what to do with itself. It has to go off in search of somebody who is a person. But if you've dissolved, karma falls away. Why that's important, come to another time. Let's bring the pataka around the foot. Hopefully now we've had enough time to meditate on the release of the back knee, which is connected with the release of the mind. And often we sometimes don't feel confident to release because we believe that there are certain things we've got to hold on to. But the power of now comes from surrender to the now, which isn't even something you do. It's just relax, trust. For example, from the spontaneous Vajra Gita, it said, trying to grasp the ungraspable, you exhaust yourself in vain. Release the tight fist of grasping. And boundless infinity is revealed. It's like a dance without time, without individuation, without problems. Therefore, we don't motivate the pose. The pose has movement in it that we ride on the back of, like a surfer. So if any releases happen, they're happening to the whole of us, to the body, the brain, and the breath. Otherwise, they're not real releases. They're superimposed. We're being violent in the sense that we're ignoring or repressing realities in our body if we're not moving into the pose with the body and the mind and the breath all releasing. So I'll just repeat that one more time. If the body is truly releasing, the breath is also, and the mind is also. And if you're trying to move into the pose and those three things aren't releasing together, then that's an act of mild, admittedly, violence. Yeah? But it's the subtle stuff that we're looking for in yoga. Violence meaning that we want something to be other than the way it is. We decide the way it is, we're going to ignore that and proceed as if it's other. So it takes you into timelessness, which can be a challenge as well because we're so conditioned to be on time with everything, to do everything on time, to live by time. But the yogin is said to be kalenana vechedat, kalenana vechedat, unaffected by time. So before I had so many responsibilities, it was not uncommon for me to practice yoga asana for 4 hours, to practice meditation for a couple of hours, when I had the time. Not because I was sort of disciplined, but because time disappears, in the moments. You can really lose yourself, and there's no end. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, come on up, cool, calm, and collected. Extend out. Give yourself a rub down if you need it. In the knees, and the thighs, and the bum. Just listing, but the whole body. I don't list now the whole body. You know what the whole body includes. We don't not include our shoulder blades when we talk about the body, that would be awful. Or the chest, or the back of the legs, or the soles of the feet, or the back of the ears, everything. So this is a Vyana Vayu, all over energy. And when you feel ready, and perhaps you want to draw the buttock flesh out and back, you take hold of the other leg and you draw it back in the same sort of way. Janu Shirshasana, which is the pose we're practicing, has relatively ancient roots in early Hatha Yoga. So we're talking about 1,000 years ago. I guess that is quite early. So it's an important pose. Again, the foot will be somewhere along the thigh. If you can support the knee, but you can't not be on a block under your bum and have a block under your knee. If you've got one under your knee, you must also have one under your bum, for reasons we could talk about, but it's not teacher training, so I won't. Lift and turn. And again, let's see how many of us can feel the softening in the knee, which is a releasing of everything that we normally tend to grip, grasp, and grab. Me, myself, and I, and opinions about our relationships, and about our family, and about our friends, and about our work colleagues, and about just about everyone in the universe we've got an opinion about. And that doesn't allow beings to be the way they are. We categorize them good, bad, neutral. And they're bad if they're, certain things like Tory, they're bad, aren't they? All the Tories are bad. And of course, politics is one thing, but humans is another. So kindness, it's really, really important. So as you're letting go in the knee and the thigh, letting go of all of those sort of fixed paradigms. It's so easy, isn't it, to have a sort of a general view. Some people have a general view about religion, religious people, they're sort of silly, or, so it's just like let go of all views about your family too, about yourself. And that's what the pose is asking. Now, when you're ready, take the patika around the foot. So surrender is like opening the tight fist of grasping. And then boundless infinity is revealed. Why there's some resistance to that is because we've been super highly trained to think of things in categories. And this is, when we worry, it's like, well, I won't know how to categorize things. I won't know what's good and bad. If I don't say that, all this kind of people are bad, all people in prison, they're all bad, It's like, but the reality of all beings isn't polarized. It's a living. So Buddhism very famously has the story of Angulimala as a sort of dramatic demonstration of the fact that beings can change. Angulimala is a Sanskrit word that means a necklace of fingers. And Angulimala started off by being a very unsavory character indeed. He was collecting fingers because he was told by a black magician it would give him power, blah, blah, blah. Bad thing, bad Angulimala. And then Angulimala was out walking and looking for someone to attack and take their fingers. And he saw the Buddha walking along and he thought, easy target, a Buddhist monk, no problem. So he started walking up to the Buddha, but he couldn't catch up with him. And then he started running and the Buddha was still walking. He couldn't catch up with him. He was sprinting and sweating and the Buddha was still walking. He couldn't catch up with him. And he screamed to the Buddha, stop. And the Buddha turned around and said to him, I will when you do. And Angulimala was so moved that he suddenly saw the error of his ways. And he saw that he had an opportunity. He was given an opportunity not to be stuck like that. He was forgiven in a sense. Anyway, the story goes on. Angulimala becomes a monk and a midwife. Yeah. You wouldn't want to be told about his backstory if you were giving birth. You'd be like, no, not him, no thanks. But nobody knew. He got a new name as a Buddhist monk and he was a midwife. And so he helped a lot of people come into the world. So it's a very dramatic story. I'm sure it's over dramatized. But it's about, keeping the mind open. And of course, the Buddha represents an open mind. It's not about some historical dude. Buddha just means awake. Okay, well done. Come on up very, 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 very calmly whenever you're ready. We're going to bring ourselves into Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog pose. So neatly put your blanket to one side. Come up into the downward facing dog when you're ready. Breathe through your nose if you can. So the moment doesn't have polarities. The moment, therefore, allows reality to change, beings to change. It allows for the possibility of complete transformation. Everything's possible with the open mind or the empty mind. It doesn't stereotype, it doesn't pin down, it doesn't bias. It's not partisan. These are good qualities, right? So the body, make no assumptions, breathe freely. Meditate on the full awakeness in the body, the awakeness of the palms on the mat. What part of the palms can you feel? What part of the palms can't you feel? Meditate through movement on absorption. Extend up the armpits, stretch them, really open them up as a meditation. The armpits as a meditation. Right? They're getting longer, the inner armpit, the outer armpit. Really extend them up. Stretch the heels back and draw the front of the thighs up. That's an endless instruction. I was practicing yesterday and I could feel the space between the upper leg bone and the lower leg bone, and I could infinitely find ways to make more space at the front there where the two bones come close. Infinitely make more space. I visualized as sort of green light coming in to those spaces in the knee capsule at the front, opening it up. And it's an endless, it's beautifully endless. Well done, everyone. Coming down to hands and knees, take a deep breath, or 2 or 3 or 4. Jaw soft, eyes soft, breathing deep. We're just going to do a sort of press up, not press up, like this. Chin, I think there was a boo in the class then. Boo, get off. So we're going to do a few of these sort of press up, not press ups. Still got a bit of work in them, haven't they? Boo. Breathing easy. Very good. Now you can either stay with that press up, not press up, or, and we're going to do 5 more of those, or one of this type of press up. In other words, from Kumbhakasana down to Chaturanga Dandasana, up again. One of those or 5 of the others. You choose. That'll do. Take a breath or 2. Boo. Press ups. Strong. Keep calm. Well done, everyone. It's good. They're very surprisingly hard, aren't they? Even one press up. See in those sort of army situations, someone go, give me 100 press ups. You're like, I give you maybe half of one. Yeah, just whoop. We'd be in trouble. We'd never make the army, would we? Thank goodness. Breathe through your nose. My dad was in the army because he had to be, national service, but he was really brilliant at being awful in it. They'd say, turn right, and he'd always turn left and walk into the others. And he was always in trouble. Just before he joined the army, he heard that they were going to cut his hair. And he was very proud of his, he was kind of very proud. So he went and got his hair cut at a barber's before he went. And they came with the cropper. And he was like, well, no, it's okay. It's okay. I've had it done. And they're like, no, it isn't. Straight off like that. Poor Melvin. He didn't fit in at all. So taking deep breaths to yourself. Now I'm going to give you 3 choices. 2 of them are hard. One of them's nightmarish. So, this is choice 1, staying like this. This is choice 2, staying like this. This is choice 3. On. So what we're doing in choice 3 is coming down to the forearms, coming up again. Every time you go down, you take the opposite one to the one you took before. When you come up, you take the same one that you went down. So if I go down on the right, then I go to the left, and I come up on the right, and then the next time I go down on the left. Except, don't make me demonstrate anymore. Oh, really, Jackie? Jackie. So, up to you. It's an interesting experiment. It will make your tummy alive. And you can breathe into it. So, you've got those choices. Remember, it might create some discombobulation if you try the version that I've recommended, which is good. And you always go down on one, then the other. You come up on the one you went down on, and then you go down on the opposite the next time. Don't complain. I'm still doing them from the demonstration. Okay, that'll do, won't it? That'll do. Oh, thanks for your confession. That sounds like you didn't do it. Oh, let's just say that you did. Take a few deep breaths. Jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. Listen and respond. It's a meditation here and now. Listen and respond. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft. Listen and respond. So I'm going to take the and out of that. Listen, respond. It's like you kind of want to make those 2 words into one word because they are actually one thing. Listening is a form of response, and response is a form of listening. Okay, bring yourself up to standing. If you can make it. Can you make it? Do you need a hand? Let me know. Well done, everyone. Now step towards the short end of your mat, which is this side. You'll need a brick block. Purple blocks are okay as well. Brick blocks preferable. Well done, everyone. Feet together. Hold your brick block in front of you. Take a breath or two. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft. Relax your toes. Take deeper breaths. And take the foot that's furthest away from me and step it back, just as I'm stepping the one furthest away from you. Step the one furthest away from me, back. You got it. Then the one that's closest to me, just bring it a little closer to me, across the width of your mat, just a little, like a centimeter or two. Lift the back heel, turn it out away from me, and then bring it down again. Breathe through your nose. Raise the brick block in the hand that's furthest away from me. Don't drop it. Doing great. Inhale, lift from the inner groin. Exhale, come down very calmly, turning as you come down. You can bring the block to the big toe side or little toe side of the foot, any height that you want. Your other hand goes on the sacrum, which is the bony plate at the back of the pelvis. Try to let go of the gluteus maximus on the back leg. If you're not sure how to do that, I think everyone knows what the gluteus maximus is. Most people, when they learn anatomy, learn two things: biceps, gluteus maximus. Biceps because they're good to show off to people, especially mums who've got, they've been carrying a baby for a while. They often get these incredible biceps that many mums have shown me. They're like, look at my biceps, Jim. It's very good, impressive. And then gluteus maximus, we learn that because it's your bum. So that's why we learn that. Bend the back knee, and you can feel the release of the gluteus maximus. It will happen in the breath as well. Keep breathing easy. As the gluteus maximus releases, that stops your leg externally rotating, and it makes it calmer to extend the bottom ribs forwards. Yeah, it's beautiful. To extend the bottom ribs forwards. That's beautiful. As calmly as you can, ascend. I'm impressed. Back foot forwards. Hold your brick in front of you. Take a deep breath. Or two. Or three. Or four. Step the other foot back when you're ready. Good. So this should be the foot that's closest to me that steps back this time. There you go. Some of you confused. Got you out of your confusion. Good. Having done so, walk your front foot across across the mat away from me, just a little bit, and lift the back heel up, turn it out, and then bring it down again. Lightly tone your tummy, raise your brick. Focus, if you can, in a loving, spacious, kind of bonus, sunny Saturday kind of way, on the inner groin of the back leg, stretching up through the deep belly. Beautiful stretch in the deep belly, the lift of the psoas major. Absolutely magical feeling to tune into. Absolutely magical, timeless feeling. Inhale, lift from that inner groin. Exhale, come down. Your brick block comes either the big toe side or the little toe side of the foot, any height that suits you. Empty of grasping, so take some deeper breaths. Relax your eyes if you can. And again, let's release the gluteus maximus on the back leg just by bending the back knee for now. Just a little bit. That's it, that's it. Don't hold your breath, let it go, let it go. Don't collapse too low towards the floor because we want to extend the bottom ribs. And that becomes more possible as the gluteus maximus releases the external rotation. There's just some of the fibers of the gluteus maximus externally rotate the leg. So as that external rotation is released, we extend, we extend, we extend. So it's a meditation. No point trying to paddle your canoe off into the lake if it's still tied up. No point trying to extend your bottom ribs if your gluteus maximus is still pulling your leg out. Top arm can be on the sacrum or raised up if you prefer. Really good. Looks lovely, Paul. T-shirt looks good in this position too. Inhale. Come on up. When you're ready, well done. Step your back foot forward. You've done really well today. Really impressed. Deep breaths. Deep breaths, natural breaths. Allow yourself a bit of looseness. There's a breeze in the room today that I can see the prayer flags moving, which is really nice. So that kind of feeling we want in ourselves, a sort of breeze. We're going to take our feet hip width apart. We're going to look down at our feet and make sure that they're parallel, using the midline rather than the insteps or the outsteps. So the midline is the line you imagine running through the middle of your feet, starting at the gap between the second and third toe and running through the middle of the heels. Raise your brick block up. Tone your tummy up. Breathe through your nose if you can. Make sure you're not holding on to any tension in the eyes or the breath. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, hinge from the hip joints and brick down to the floor. Chest open. And so this is a version of Uttanasana Eka or Ekam, number one. And because the connective tissue on the back of the legs and through the back of the body also goes through the soles of the feet, moving your feet can be utilized to loosen off tension in your legs and in your back. For most of us, we can get everything we need because we're yogins. We get more from less. With the brick block like this, moving the pelvis, breathing deeper. Sometimes, over time, the body releases, the hamstrings release, and therefore the sitting bones release, and your lower back will start to dip down. That's what we want. If it dips down but continues to dip down, it can start feeling a bit tight in very rare cases. But if that case is you, then you can, to release that discomfort, you take the block lower. But don't think that the lower your block, the better at yoga. No. The more you can use the moment as a portal to a total absorption, that's when you're doing better at yoga. So I give these various stations, not because one is superior to the other. They're all equal. And whatever station is conducing to absorption and releasing your breath is the one we want. There are even some people, and they've got very, very short legs perhaps, who end up with their heads on the block, as it not in the negative sense, but in the positive sense. So that just might mean you've got a really long neck, like a giraffe, little tiny little legs, and a long torso. So, careful what you wish for. So it should remain a meditation. Now we're all going to dispense with the block by bringing our hands flat to the floor, which means for most of us bending the knees, right? Which is the right thing to do. If you can bring the hands flat to the floor and your back feels soft and your legs are straight, that's fine as well. But for most of us, bending the knees. Massaging the hamstrings is a process of movement of the pelvis, movement of the feet, movement of the back. Now hold your elbows and breathe through your nose as you let the pose hang from the hip joints. We're not hanging from the belly button, we're hanging from the hip joints, meaning we need to change our focus to that end. If your legs are straight, and for most of us they're not, and that's exactly, they shouldn't be for most of us, but just in case they are, bringing some tone, fiber by fiber, to the quadriceps is a brilliant, meditative, endless thing to do that will release the hamstrings and the back further. Now, wherever we are, let go of the arms, let go of the hands, let them hang, left fingers pointing to the right, right fingers pointing to the left. Bend your knees until your ribs touch your thighs, and then bring your hands up onto your thighs, just above your knees. Straighten and lock your elbows, taking deep breaths, and then continue your journey up in your own time. Standing in a version of Tadasana with the feet apart. Bring your feet together. Bring your hands to prayer position. We're going to just do a little nyasa practice to flag the central channel, which is a visceral correlate to being centered, which is exactly the same as being open, as this word that's used in Buddhism and other traditions, emptiness. We're going to flag the central channel by chanting 3 bijas, 3 seed syllables, Om, Ah, and Hong. As we chant each one, we're going to place our hands on the relevant place, the Om, the forehead, the Ah, the throat, the Hong, the heart. And we're going to imagine corresponding light in each area. White in the head for the Om, blue in the throat for the Ah, and red in the heart for the Hong. So let's chant those together now. Bring your hands to your forehead for the Om. Down to the throat for the Ah, blue. Now to the heart for the Hong. Hong. A beautiful discordant chord that we made there together, like John Cage had written. I like that a lot. Come down to laying on your back. We're going to just concentrate on the space in the central channel in our final pose, the Shavasana. Remember, you've placed those bija mantras in your body. That's what the word nyasa means. When you hear the word vinyasa, it comes from the word nyasa. V is just a particle that you can add at the beginning, which can mean something like special kind of placement. Make sure you're warm, because despite the sun coming out, it is still October. No, of course, absolutely. And lay as comfortably as we can. The head, if it tips back, should be given head support. And of course, we should be comfortable and warm. And so our final practice is 2 practices from the Dattatreya Yoga Shastra. Laying on your back with your mouth facing the sky, with your limbs loose as if you were dead. That's practice number 1. Laying on your back with your mouth facing the sky, with your limbs loose as if you were dead. And practice number 2 at the same time is to contemplate the vacuity, the space, the emptiness within the central channel that we've already marked with our Om, Ah, and Hum. Just contemplate the vacuity, the emptiness. and abide in that emptiness. Feel into your body as if it was something new. So feel from the emptiness, from the openness, feel into the body. Taking some little movements expressed from the emptiness, like emptiness feels the movement of the toes, emptiness feels the movement of the fingers, emptiness feels the movement of the ankles and of the wrists and of any other stretches that begin to come. And emptiness knows the bending of the legs. When we're ready, we bend the legs. And the scooting of the buttocks under, and the deep breath with a full sigh-like exhale. When you're ready, roll onto your side, facing away from this side of the room, and lay as comfortably as you can on your side with your knees drawn up. Roll again in your own time to lay as comfortably as you can on your other side. Coming up slow, calm, and easy when you feel ready from the side, and bringing your hands to a prayer position as we face towards the shrine, and a cheeky little Ratnasambhava just peering over the top of the flowers. It's quite cheeky, I think he looks like that. So Ratnasambhava is a Buddha of beauty. He has Varada Mudra, which means the mudra of giving. So he's often known as the gift bestowing. So let him bestow this gift for us if we want, by chanting or saying Om out loud if we agree with these following words. May any benefit that we've gained in our acting in this way go to the alleviation of the suffering of absolutely every single being. Om. If only we had longer, we could go into a spontaneous metta bhavana meditation now. And that leads me on to an advertisement. We shall be advertising now my upcoming retreats. I've got one that is a retreat and the other is a sort of spa weekend. Yeah, I'm running a spa weekend. What the hell's got into me? Anyway, that seems like it's going to be nice. The spa weekend is at some spa, I can't remember its name now. That's my advert for that. And then there's the winter solstice immersion, which is over the winter solstice. Anyway, there's posters outside there. So I hope you can join me for the winter solstice immersion or even the spa weekend coming up soon. Thanks, Sumas. Thank you so much for your time. Great to see you. Love and peace. Mwah. Marvelous to see you. Stay out of trouble now. Promise.